And the great one might have done Broadway one more time if he'd had this cat on his wing. But would that have been enough to save Les Miserables? And when the stars don't like the coach, Nero starts playing while the fiddler on the roof burns down. Today's show sounds like music with Willie Wilson, all-time great center fielder Jacqui Delaney, and from WWF, Chris Jericho on OTR.
Off the Record with Michael Landsberg is brought to you by the Keg Steakhouse and Bar. For great steaks, good friends, see you tonight.
A show you wanted, a guest you demanded, and an all-star OTR cast that makes this one a potential classic. He's the guy that you wanted. We had him once before. By popular demand, he is back. WWF superstar, a good kid from Winnipeg, Manitoba. Great to welcome one of our favorites, Chris Jericho.
Thank you very much. It's good to be a requested panel returnee.
Don't read too much into that. Okay. This is the guy that was requested. 1985, he won a World Series for the Kansas City Royals. His record that year of 705 at-bats, still a major league record. He was a two-time All-Star, a batting champ as well. Willie Wilson on OTR. Nice to see you.
Nice to be here. I'm still tired from those at-bats.
And she's had a number of at-bats on this show. Jacqui Delaney from the Fan 590 back once again, unlike Chris Jericho, because the viewers wanted it. Today, if the NFL plucks the eyes out of Joey Galloway's head, is it Greek tragedy or just good business? And when a guy hits the turf and can't get up, do you call the stretcher or the pusher? But first, Wayne Gretzky's going into the Hall of Fame on Monday night. He told Dave Hodge if the Rangers would have traded for Pavel Bure, there's a chance that he would still be playing for New York. Not that Bure and Gretzky would be enough to turn around the Rangers. Those two plus Mario and the ghost of Jacques Plante might not be enough. Last night they lost again, and this shot off the post, which you'll see here, could be the one that kills the coach. Two words dominate any Ranger game these days: fire Muckler. Should they?
It's an interesting situation. I love the Rangers. I'm a Ranger fan. I'm a second-generation Ranger. The blood of the Rangers flows through these huge veins. But to fire Muckler, I think if they're going to fire him, they should have done it before the season. And also, I'm a huge Gretzky fan, but for him to say he would have stayed if they would have traded for Bure.
Said he might have stayed.
Well, he might have stayed. Well, he probably might have stayed if they would have hired Fleury, if they would have got Fleury in there as well. I bet you, in retrospect, he's probably wishing that he would have given it another year. And that's also another reason why the Rangers are so bad.
I think Gretzky, it's easy enough for him to say that now that it's done and over with. But when it comes to firing the coach, you know, coaches have been fired sooner than this into the season, and if that's what it's going to take to kickstart this team, they have a lot of talent on that team.
And
they spent a lot of money to get that talent.
I mean, if you're a player and you got a bunch of guys going together, and I think that if everybody's going together and this guy isn't who they like, then you got to fire the guy, because it's easier to fire a coach.
But what's interesting is the fact that the players like him. Todd Harvey has come out and said, we like John Muckler.
Yeah, but maybe they like him
too
much. Maybe that's the problem. They like him too much, and it's more of a friend. It's almost like that parent-friend syndrome. And they're not performing for him. And if that's what it's going to take to kickstart their butts, do it.
It's also a vicious circle, though. If they're not performing for the coach, it's almost the inmates are running the asylum. Maybe they should be performing for the coach, because if you fire the coach, the Rangers are still going to suck. They have a lot of talent, but they have no chemistry. That could be John Muckler's fault, or it could be the player's fault.
Yeah, but maybe that's what mixes up the chemistry. I mean, it's been proven time and time again that it works.
Or maybe they should just buckle up and start trying to play harder and embrace the coach's system. Scotty Bowman's not a peach to play for, from what I've heard either, but the Wings won the Stanley Cup. Sometimes you need the discipline, especially with high-paid, overpriced, egomaniacal athletes.
Oh, my.
Wow.
My goodness. But you know what? Let's go back to the Canadians a few years back. They weren't playing for a guy like Pat Burns. Okay, so he's on the same level as, say, a Scotty Bowman. They bring in a Jacques Demers kind of guy who's, you know, patting them on the back, and they start playing for him. Then he stopped working, then you bring in a bad guy again. And I think that's what it's more about. And unfortunately, it's a numbers game, and John Muckler, his time is up.
Speaking of asylums and inmates running it, Mike Scioscia has just been hired to manage the Anaheim Angels. And the quote that I love from Scioscia is, we'll do everything we can to make Anaheim a fun place this summer. He takes over from Terry Collins. I'm sorry?
It's not supposed to be fun. It's a job. And if you have a job, you're supposed to go out there and you're supposed to do it. So it's fun if you're winning. Winning solves a lot of things, but as a player, you're supposed to have the good and the bad, and it's not supposed to be, I'm just going to have fun, and everybody else just goes along and say, we're going to have fun, and you don't win. It's nice to win and have fun, not just have fun.
But maybe that's what they need now. It's kind of the same situation. Maybe that's what they need. They've had it. They've been in a position where they haven't liked the person that they're playing for, and they haven't been having fun, so they haven't been going out there and giving it 110%. Maybe now this will work for a couple of years.
Well, I don't think that's the case. I mean, you're supposed to work for whoever you work for, and you're supposed to give them 110% if you can. And so I feel that if a guy goes out there and just because he doesn't like a player, he's getting paid to do a job. So I mean, you can have fun off the field, but when you're playing, you want to have fun and win, and not just have fun.
The thing is, too, though, I mean, having fun is part of a job which is going to give you the confidence to start playing well, whether it be playing baseball or whether you're working at 7-Eleven. If you hate your job and you don't want to show up for work every day, you're not going to give 100%. If you love your job and you're having fun doing it, that can also take away a lot of the pain of losing if you're enjoying yourself and you know that maybe tomorrow there's another day. If you totally hate pouring Slurpees at 7-Eleven, then you don't want to show up for work. If you like it, then you're going to be there and you want to sweep the floors.
But isn't it different?
These guys aren't pouring Slurpees, though.
84 million?
Yeah, exactly.
If you're making 84 million, you can have fun anywhere.
Yeah, but you're talking, once again, you're talking about professional athletes. They live in their own little world and they're basically
Let's kick
grown
them out
up
of that
babies.
on their own. Look, but isn't it this kind of behavior? Appointing a manager, a guy who can create fun in the fun house, in the clubhouse, isn't that what creates the little babies?
Well, I mean, it creates a little bit. Well, it's hard because you're talking about athletes. They're different. For me,
no, we're talking about baseball players, Chris.
Well, there you go, which is even another story right there.
Wait a minute. We're athletes.
If you're having fun in the dressing room, you're going to want to produce. If you're not having fun, you might want to. You don't care what's going on. But I know it's happened to me before. If you're not having fun at your job, you don't really care what happens. It takes away a lot of the confidence factor.
Yeah, but a lot of that is created by the players. I mean, the manager is only one guy. Okay, so he can only make it so much fun. You have to go out and you got to do everything that you can in your power to make it fun, not just to depend on somebody else to make it fun. So winning, to me, if you go out and you players group together and you play as a team and you win, then you're going to have fun. If you're losing in anything, you're not going to have fun.
I think that's the system, though. You're going to play under his umbrella of what he wants you to do, and it's either going to work or not. And if it works, that's what you want.
I think it depends on the person, too, because just in any walk of life, I mean, I'm the type of person, when I go to work, I take pride in the fact that I want to do the best job, and even if I don't have fun doing it. But some people don't work that way. Some people, it's all about them.
Is it Vince McMahon's job, as we go to break, let me ask you this, to create a fun environment for Chris Jericho to earn his money?
It's Vince McMahon's job to provide the best possible talent and the best possible storylines, which is going to result in you giving the best possible effort and result in you having fun. Yes, it is his responsibility to do that. If he does not do that, then you end up like Eric Bischoff's reign in WCW, where nobody cares. Everybody's given a half-arsed effort, if I'm allowed to say that, and the whole company falls apart.
He is Chris Jericho, now a superstar in the WWF. He is Willie Wilson, was a superstar in Major League Baseball. I'll ask you what you're up to a little bit later on in the show, and she is superstar radio announcer Jacqui Delaney. When we return, Troy Aikman, should he return after too many shots in? You know, in so many ways, I feel like this is my playing field, and it's so important that all of you have fun. Is everybody having fun?
No.
You're not having
fun?
I'm
not having fun at all. Your questions are horrible, your presentation is terrible, and your guests have been ridiculous.
Oh, wait, no. Hold up there.
Excluding me,
now you're getting out of hand. You can pick on him.
I'm sorry, what did you say? Egomaniacal?
Egomaniacal.
All right.
He's going to hit me with his World Series ring and knock me right out, so I better be quiet.
Let me tell you about Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman continues to be hurt for the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys are 5-4. They play Arizona this weekend. A lot of people feel when they start to get healthy, Troy Aikman could conceivably, if he's playing, lead them to some definite impressive postseason performances. Here's the question I have for you. 2 concussions in less than a week, 7 in his career. Even if the doctor gives him the go-ahead to play, is it time for someone to step back and say, Troy, hey, I'm looking out for you, don't return?
No. I think it's up to Troy. And I think if Troy gets a doctor's opinion, if Troy has a family around, then Troy should be able to make the decision that he wants to play or not play.
Yeah, I think it's up to those closest to him and him. It's ultimately his responsibility. We're all responsible for our own well-being.
But he also has a responsibility to his team and to his fans. I mean, if he gets a doctor's clearance, then the doctor's saying it's okay for him to play, and he should get out there and perform for the people who pay his salary.
You think he should get? No, I think it should be his decision.
Well, if the doctor says that he's okay, then
yeah. But see, that's the problem with concussions, and that's why it's always been kind of an iffy situation. With concussions, it's not tangible, like, you know, it's not there for you to see. And I think that's why, too, in years past in hockey and football, so many guys now are starting to realize just how much damage they have done to themselves. So and it's because it's not tangible.
Yeah, that's right. So if he feels he's ready to play, then he should play. But just to have the doctor say, go play, because all doctors aren't right, obviously.
No.
That's the thing. And you know, suppose a doctor says, yeah, you're cleared to play. Would we feel as though he let down the Dallas Cowboy fans if he says, no, I'm going to retire, I'm going to step back and go, even though I'm getting the clearance? Would we feel like he'd let them down?
The fans probably would.
Yeah, but...
And doesn't that create enormous pressure?
Well, fans always want more, and he's probably reached the peak of his career, and he probably has, what, 2-3 more years left to begin with anyways. So, obviously, I think if the doctor says it's okay for him to play, well, then it's obviously, of course, it's his final decision. If he hadn't accomplished as much as he had, has he won a Super Bowl ring?
He's got 2 of them.
Well, I mean, he's got nothing else to accomplish.
But in pro sports, it's always we want more.
It's always about money, too. So if they're going to offer him a big contract and double his salary, you'll see him playing.
No, but it's
doctors
also,
know it or not.
It's also the expectation of pro athletes not feeling pain, pro athletes feeling superhuman. We, as fans, demand that our athletes play through pain.
Yeah, and they always say the athlete's the last one to recognize it. But I think nowadays, because a lot of guys are getting so much money, they seem to recognize things a little quicker. And if I feel that if he's not ready to play, then he should not go out there, no matter what the doctor says, no matter what the fans say. And yeah, it is pressure that he wants to go out there. It's pressure he wants to perform. It's pressure that he doesn't have Michael Irving there and all his running backs, Emmitt Smith. But if he sees all that, he knows that he's not going to play as well because they're going to be shooting after him because he's the one of the 3 that's left.
You've also made a good point, too, when you say that athletes kind of have a different way about them. They kind of have their own set of rules, and an injury that might keep an average Joe out for 2 or 3 months or even possible retirement, an athlete will be willing and ready to come back from in a shorter period of time. So in his own mind, even if maybe he shouldn't come back, he probably will because he feels responsibility to the fans, and plus them Benjamins do all the talking.
Benjamins.
Got to get them Benjamins.
But I guess the issue, what you're trying to get at is, should the fans get on him if he decides not to play? Is that what you're really...
Well, I think it all comes down to the expectation of society on an athlete and the expectation that that athlete places on his or herself. And I think it becomes a very serious issue because the difference between playing and not playing can often be in a pill bottle.
Yeah, but are they looking at the athlete or are they looking at what the athlete makes? And I think a lot of people look at what the athlete makes and then they make their own opinion instead of looking at the guy himself or the woman, excuse me. So, I mean, that's what I think.
I think most rational fans, which is kind of an oxymoron.
An oxymoron?
Yeah. But I think most rational fans, the way they look at it really depends on the athlete. Like when someone like Elvis Stojko goes down with a groin injury, people really believe that he wasn't able to go out there and do it. Now, if it's the type of athlete that it's like, you know, this thing one day, this thing another day, I think they're going to kind of look at it like, well, yeah, here he goes again.
But also, as much as Aikman has contributed, as much as he's accomplished, if he did decide to retire, I don't think you see too much of a backlash.
No, I don't either.
I think you would.
All right. Backlash. Maybe not for Troy Aikman, but for an assistant coach at St. John's University in soccer, the backlash cost him his job simply because he said, I don't want to wear the swoosh when OTR returns.
Is he that hard up for money that he has to cause this much problems by putting stickers under his face that says, you know...
well, I know that when you...
Stridex or
when
whatever.
you got your batting gloves and you show it in the paper, they send you $5 extra grand.
We've learned of an interesting story. St. John's University soccer, an assistant coach was forced to resign. and he was forced to resign because of his public stance against Nike, a company. This is the way he alleges it in his lawsuit against St. John's University. He says that he came out publicly and said that it was inappropriate for him to wear a Nike swoosh because of Nike's hiring practices in Asia. He didn't want to wear the swoosh. They ended up forcing him to resign. He's suing them. Should a university or a pro team be able to force a coach or an assistant coach or a player to wear a certain product?
Yes. If they have a contract, if they have a deal with them, and you know that going in, you know what? I know what you're going to say, or I think. It's, you know, maybe the issue is should they even have the deal? And I don't think they should, because I agree with his stance on that. Unfortunately, the school has a deal with them, and he has to take part in that.
No, I don't think that should do that. I think that a player or anyone should have the right to go wear what they want to wear, make what they want to make, and not be bind to just what the owner.
But McDonald's
or the guy
employees
wants.
have to wear uniforms. You know,
when
it's part of the
when you
uniform.
played with the Royals, did you have to wear the team uniform?
Yeah, the team uniform.
Right,
but,
and so you have to wear everything that's encompassed on the team uniform.
yeah, but
the
we
logo.
we had our own gloves. We had our own glove contract. We had our own batting glove contract.
Right.
We had our own shoe contract. And the guy that's making all the money here is the owner.
Right,
But the way it
swoosh
is
on the
now, though, a
uniform,
lot of
though.
teams do have contracts with Nike. Like the CFL has a deal with Adidas. None of the certain players are designated on each team that can wear something other than Adidas. Everybody else has to wear Adidas.
Right.
You cannot have a Nike swoosh showing, and if you don't like it, too bad. You'll get fined.
Thing is, does it stink that you have to do that? Yes, but that's corporate sports.
Yeah.
I mean, if they pay the contract, you have to wear the uniform. I think it sucks that the corporations have taken over all sports anyways, because it takes away all of the actual love and respect for the sport. It's all about money. But having said that, if you sign the contract with the company, this is the uniform, you put it on or you get out. You didn't wear it for moral reasons, and I respect that. But that's just corporations.
Well,
you play by the
I
corporate rules,
understand
or you
that.
get the heck out of Dodge. You know.
I understand that you know you want to abide by certain things, but there's certain things that you got to give the player too. I mean, he just can't do everything the owners or the corporate people want. And I just feel that if you don't give him his little bit of rights, then he's not going to be happy.
Back to that.
What's interesting is we're talking uniform, but there's a very complex situation that exists, or the NFL doesn't think it's that complex, with Joey Galloway. Wide receiver for the Seattle Seahawks. Underneath his eyes, you can see that he is wearing a sticker, and that's, I guess, to prevent glare. But on that sticker was a corporate logo. And the league has told him he is never to wear that logo again on the sticker. That's on his body, not on the uniform. Do they have a right to tell him that?
Yes. Well, it goes back to the Adidas with the CFL. You can't have a player wearing a swoosh if they have a contract with Adidas.
No. That's just like saying, you know, remember the old NFL when you did a dance in the end zone? Mm-hmm. Everybody loved that. And the NFL took it away. So for me, if a guy can't promote himself, Deion promotes himself. Everybody promotes himself.
I agree with what you're saying about they should be able to promote themselves. Unfortunately, they're stuck in a situation where these deals are made, and unfortunately, they have to go along with it.
First of all, I don't see what the big deal was in the first place. You couldn't even see what it said. It was an absolutely ridiculous way of promoting a little strip under your thing. Let's just show a close-up of his face. I think
500 calls the company received the next day from that.
that's unbelievable, because I would never have noticed that if you didn't point it out.
And nobody notices it but the company,
Right.
the NFL. So everybody else didn't
But
really care.
once again, though, it's the two sides of the coin. I mean, if you went up there wearing a sandwich board on your uniform that said, you know, eat at Joe's in the front and, you know, good hamburgers on the back, that's obviously ridiculous. You shouldn't do it. It's the same idea having a little sticker on it. I mean, is he that hard up for money that he has to cause this much problems by putting stickers under his face that says, you know,
Well, I know that when you
Stridex or
when you
whatever.
got your batting gloves and you show it in the paper, they send you $5 extra.
Right.
You know, so if you have your Louisville Slugger bat and your batting gloves and it shows up in like Newsweek or Baseball Weekly, they send you money in the mail. So maybe he does need the money, but you can't fault him for doing it, at least giving it a try.
You got $5 extra for showing your gloves?
Yeah.
That's a good deal.
Yeah.
Hold on. What time is it here? Oh, it's time to go to break.
Right.
And as we go to break, I'll always tell our viewers that we want to know what you think of the show and the issues. Michael, is it true? Is it happening Tuesday? I don't believe it. I've been waiting for over a year. Gene and Liam, round number 3. Now I can rest in peace, which may be what Liam says when he's on the show. Thank you very much. Yes, Gene Mack, Liam McGuire. Negotiations have taken place for over a year. It will happen. There's our website. There's our email. There's our fax number. Here's why we want him back so badly.
Herrera's a very good grappler here.
Oh, my elbows. in number by Goodridge, and that is it. Goodridge went pounding to Herrera's head with those elbows.
What's going on, of course, with the WWF?
Yes, tomorrow Skydome at 5 p.m. It should be a sellout, so if you don't have tickets yet, you need to get one to come down to see Canada's newest superhero, Y2J in
Is
action.
Edge coming? Oh, sorry.
Oh, gee, you son of a... and then we're also down in Mississauga at the Toys R Us, so bring all your Jericho toys down, and no Edge toys, though, and no Michael Landsberg dolls either. Oh, wait, there isn't any.
Like I'd really want a doll.
Yeah.
Just because there's a big difference between playing with them, buddy, and having them named after you.
Oh,
Stone Cold did not wrestle in the Survivor Series. Will he come back?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, storyline-wise, it seems pretty serious. Behind-the-scenes-wise, I still don't really know for sure. I mean, his neck was bothering him ever since the pile driver from the late great Owen Hart in '97 Survivor Series. So, who knows what's going to happen? I'm not sure.
You know, you look at him, you look at Undertaker, Mick Foley's obviously hurting. Is your sport just too tough to go the distance now?
In some ways, yeah. I mean, you look at guys. You look at a guy like Stone Cold. I mean, that was just a freak accident. You know, you look at a guy like Mankind. Well, it's kind of surprising that he can still walk, to be honest with you, because he's, you know, because of the danger that he took and everything that he took.
Chris, got to cut you off. What a pleasure to see you. What a pleasure to meet you, Willie Wilson, Jacqui Delaney. Thanks for joining us on Off the Record, and we'll have Mick Foley as well. He'll be talking about.
Nobody cuts me off. I want to.
Off the Record with Michael Landsberg is brought to you by the Keg Steakhouse and Bar. For great steaks, good friends, see you tonight. Michael Landsberg's clothing, courtesy for you.
Right now, we'll put those Liam and
wanna
Gina
go?
to shame. Come on, let's go.